Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome back to my Supergirl episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode of Supergirl, which is the mid-season premiere titled Supergirl Lives, which is the episode directed by Kevin Smith. And I hope everyone had a great holiday break. This being the mid-season premiere. After I would say like a month and a half or so, or ever since the 4-way crossover, that was unexpectedly the mid-season premiere. I thought that was handled really poorly because they didn't even tell you it was the mid-season premiere because of the whole crossover thing. And the next week it's like, oh yeah, that was the mid-season premiere. Okay, bye. And it's like, I don't know. I just thought that was really mishandled. And like, if they told us ahead of time, like, hey, this is also the mid-season finale, it would have been like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, I just don't know why they decided to do that. But it is what it is. And we come back to what I think is a really, really strong episode. And of course, with Kevin Smith directing, with the title of Superman Lives. And for those of you who don't know, Kevin Smith, who don't know really who Kevin Smith is or why there's certain things in this episode happened the way they did. So Kevin Smith, he's a huge superhero nerd. He was an independent filmmaker from the 1990s who was brought on to writer's treatment for a Superman movie, which was going to be, as the process went on, it was going to be directed by Tim Burton, and in that movie, the name for that movie was Superman Lives, ergo the title of this episode. And there's a lot of drama going on with that movie, and ultimately, it never ended up actually getting made. And if you guys want to know more about that whole fiasco and what it took to try to make that movie and why it ended up not working, there's a great documentary out there called "The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened" by John Schnepp, who, if you guys watch, Collider video at all, he's one of the main guys there, and he was the director of that movie. He, funded that project from start to finish through various, Indiegogo or all the various streaming sites. Anyways, so Kevin Smith has been involved with, certain DC things over the last 2 years, and from both Marvel and DC, he's done things for both of them. But in the last couple of years, he's done a lot of stuff for promoting DC films, and he's also directed a couple of episodes of The Flash this past year, and now they brought him on to direct an episode of Supergirl. And in tonight's episode, because I knew it was directed by him, there's a couple of things I was looking forward to. There was the one line when they were when Mon-El and Kara first got on the planet, that was about the Thanagarian snare beast, and during the whole thing of Superman Lives, the producer of the movie, John Peters, he wanted Superman to fight a giant spider, and Kevin Smith went to Warner Brothers and was like, yeah, I don't know what you guys want me to do. I don't want to do the spider thing. And they're like, do a spider, but don't call it a spider. And he's like, Thanagarian snare beast. I'm like, good, go. And then that's where the Thanagarian snare beast thing came from. And of course, Thanagar is the Hawk world in DC lore, where the Hawkman and Hawkgirl usually have come from when they're not Carter Hall and Shira Saunders, or wherever, Shira Hall, whatever her name is. And so that was a cool little Easter egg for us fans. And then of course his daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, who was the girl that Kara was trying to find on the planet. And of course she was in a couple of movies that Kevin Smith directed himself in the last couple of years called she was in that movie Tusk, and then she reprised her role from that movie in the movie Yoga Hosers, which I haven't seen, so I can't really comment on her performance. But she was fine in this episode. I feel like when she was reunited with her mom at the end, it was I don't know, the acting there wasn't the best, but she was okay. I mean, she had a really small role in the episode, so I can't really complain about her performance, really. But again, I did really like this episode a lot. I love seeing Kara finally out there reporting again, because I feel like the whole thing of her being a reporter has been it's been coming and going. It hasn't really been a continuing plot point. And I did like in this episode because they're really making her more of her own character, even though she is essentially the male or the female version of Superman, being the reporter and all that stuff. But that aside, I do like showing her showing how caring she really is and how far she's willing to go to help those, whether it's as Supergirl or Kara Danvers or both. And that's what I felt like her story in this episode, as trying to help this woman find her daughter. And it's not just for the story, but it's to help her. And then that's what I feel like in Sniper Car at the end of this this episode, where it's like, you go get him, Car, or that's there at a go, Car. He has some small little line showing he was proud of Kara. I thought that was a really nice little moment, because Snapper Car was just he's been really hit or miss for me so far because he's not what I would have wanted out of Snapper Car. He seems like a more like grumpy Perry White at this point. I did like him in that moment. What else did I like? I like the practical effects of the aliens in this episode, and that's one thing I like too about this season, that we're seeing a lot more of different aliens, whether it is CGI or practical effects. And then the practical effects in the aliens reminds me a lot of Star Trek or Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I love Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So it kind of threw me back to that. So I did like seeing that. And then, of course, we saw a Dominator in this episode. And, of course, the Dominators being, like the main villains in the four-way crossover. And it's funny because the Dominators were... Well, those Dominators were from, the main Arrowverse or whatever, Earth 1 or whatever they want to call it. And, of course, this being Supergirl's Earth, and she had already mentioned the Dominators, that they had come to Krypton or whatever at some point in the past. But seeing them on this Earth, I wonder if that was just an Easter egg for us fans or whatever. But it was cool seeing them nonetheless. Seeing Roulette again, by Dionne Lockman. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. That actually plays Roulette. It was really cool seeing her again, even though she wasn't really utilized a whole lot in this episode. She kind of had like a couple of scenes, and that was about it. But it was cool seeing her again. I do like the character of Roulette, and she was a character who I liked on Smallville, a character who I like in this show, and I really, really like the actress because I loved her portrayal of Sky's mom, or Daisy's mom, in season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that was a show that I watched for a little while, and I started watching the third season, and then I kind of just fell off, and I got too busy with my own life and all the other shows that I watch to really finish it. And then I watched a couple of episodes of this season with the whole Ghost Rider thing, and I thought that they were pretty interesting. It's just between all the shows I watch and my work life and spending time with my girlfriend and my family and all that stuff, it's really hard to find time to watch all these different shows. But again, just seeing Roulette again was really nice, and I do like the character. I didn't want to see more of her at some point, and I know she'll be back again. And I did like seeing more and more. I feel like James is growing on me as Guardian. The only aspect of it I don't like is him, and when just overly celebrating certain things, like they're like little fanboys every time they do something. Like, oh, he saved someone. Like, oh, Guardian, I heard he did this last night. Oh, I heard he actually helped Supergirl. It's like, stop that. Like, that's, I know the show is cheesy, but come on, you don't be that cheesy all the time. So that was just a little nitpicky thing that kind of bothered me. But other than that, I do like James as Guardian because it gives him something more to do, since they clearly don't want him as a love interest because they're trying to force Mon-El and Kara down our throats. Which is, in their defense, they're not doing it as heavily as I would have expected. But I don't want them together. Even though I'm liking Mon-El more, especially after these last couple of episodes he's been in. The actor who plays him, I think he's always done an okay job. It's just the writing that I had a problem with. And now that he wants to be a superhero, there's more to him than just being there to just be the hot, pretty guy with superpowers. He's like the Superman replacement, So I do like that they're doing more with the character and they're making me like him more. I still don't want him and Kara together. I think that's a mistake, and I know that's where they're going. And it's just, I'm not for it. And one thing I like about this show too is that how it can be really inspiring in a lot of different ways. And I did like Kara's speech to the group when she was trying to encourage them, and just despite the terrible situation that they were in, and that's just, I like it. But then those are aspects of of comic book characters in general, because me being a fan of the DC movie universe or the DCEU, people are mad that Superman isn't like that necessarily. He's not giving these hopeful speeches and smiling all the time and not doing all these different things when the movies and TV and comics, there's so many different iterations and versions of these characters that I like seeing something new in my favorite characters. That's why Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, I love this newer interpretation of Superman in film because it's a character. He's more of a character I can relate to. I feel more it feels just more relatable to me than the Christopher Reeve Superman. And I love Christopher Reeve Superman. Don't get me wrong, but that's where I feel like people who just can't move on from that Superman are problematic to me, because you can have all these different iterations of Batman or Wonder Woman or whatever, and that's fine, but Superman can't get out of the past, and everyone else can. I never understood that. And that's why I like I like her speech in this episode, and it reminds me of why I like these characters, but it also reminds me of the criticism towards, you know, the DC movie universe for being too dark and, you know, mopey or whatever, which I think are stupid criticism anyway. But I feel like that was, you know, I'm gonna bring in a lot of hate in the comments for saying stuff like that, because it's almost completely unrelated to what I'm talking about anyway. Anyways, so I did another action sequence I really liked was the sequence of the DEO going to the planet to rescue everyone. There was really great action shots, and then when they're shooting all the aliens, and then the one alien gun pops down, and then, you know, Alex grabs it, just like dibs or something like that. I thought that was kind of a funny line. The action in this episode I thought was great. I did like, you know, when John was like trying to make the yellow sun grenade for them to use while they were on the planet, so Kara could have her powers temporarily while she was there. I thought that was really cool. And it sucks that, you know, we didn't see really any of Martian Manhunter in this episode. Yeah, we saw, you know, John Jones or Hank or whatever we want. It's so weird what to call him now, because there's the Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman thing, and then there's Martian Manhunter. I don't know what to call him anymore. But it was weird not having him as much of a part of this episode. I know there's a lot going on in this episode between Wynn and his somewhat PTSD, and then Alex and Maggie's relationship, and then Kara and Mon-El stuck on the planet, and then all this other stuff going on. I get it, but I like seeing more on Martian Manhunter because he's one of my favorite characters on the show. So my only big problem with this episode was seeing Alex overly happy in the beginning of the episode when her and Maggie, you know, wake up and they're in the apartment making food for each other. She notices like Maggie's wearing Alex's shirt, and then she makes a comment about it being so happy, and just I love them being together. I love this. Like, I'm not against gay couples or anything like that. You guys know me. I've been shipping them from the beginning. I'm frustrated with the way they handle it, all this back and forth, and then the unnecessary breaking up and the unnecessary all this stuff. Like, I want them to be together. I just want them to handle it. Just be patient, and they're together now, and just let them like have a natural relationship that feels real. And that's how it was for a little bit. And then now in this episode, there's like the unnecessary breaking up, and I can't be happy because and then the overly happiness in the beginning. It just in that aspect of the relationship didn't feel like real to me in this episode. But hopefully it's an issue that they can fix, because I know there's a lot going on in this episode, so they couldn't really focus on the relationship. But I do want them to work out long term, because I think it's great having an LGBT couple on such a huge TV show, a superhero show nonetheless. And of course, you know, being a character who's brought from the comics, who was an LGBT character, they had to do it at some point. I'm happy it was that it was Alex and Kyler Lee. She's been an advocate for the ship and for that couple in general. Kyler Lee's brought in a really great performance, and she's really become an advocate for the LGBT community, and I really admire her for that. I think she's a great actress in this role, and I'm glad that they're doing that with her character in the show. I just want them to handle it a little better. But other than that, I had a lot of fun with this episode. It was a really solid mid-season premiere, and I feel like mid-season premieres are often some of like the worst episodes of seasons of TV shows. Like last year's mid-season premiere of Supergirl was one of the most disappointing episodes of that season. And then some other shows, you know, like Flash, Arrow, Legend of Tomorrow. Well, Legend of Tomorrow hasn't actually had a mid-season premiere until this week, because they were like the mid-season show, like they premiered after the break and all that stuff. But again, a really, really solid episode, and I'm really excited to see what they do moving forward, especially with all the stuff going on with Mon-El and the aliens that are tracking him. And I think Mon-El is the prince that he keeps saying, like, oh, he's no one to look up to. Mon-El is the prince. There might have been something I missed in his first couple of episodes when they're having the flashbacks of him on Daxam, or that he, I don't know. If I'm missing something, let me know in the comment section. But obviously, we're gonna find out more of what's going on with Mon-El soon. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really just looking forward to the rest of the season in general. And I'm looking forward to the musical crossover with the Flash sometime in the next month or two. I'm just really excited for this show, because it's one of my favorite TV shows. As cheesy as it can be sometimes, and as problematic as it can be sometimes, it's a really fun show to watch. It's some just really fun television. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you guys for watching. Again, sign your thoughts in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button for all the other DC TV shows I watch. I'm back to reviewing Star Wars Rebels. I'm almost caught up. Just a couple more episodes ago, and I'll be caught up because I was doing a whole binging thing today. So I'm almost there, not quite. You guys can watch those, all my different trailer reactions, movie reviews, all that stuff are on my channel as well. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, have a good one.